You've plotted, you've character planned, you're ready to put pen to paper or finger to keyboard. You're ready to start writing your novel. Congratulations, because most people will never get this far. So take a moment, give yourself a pat on the back. Feel good about yourself for a bit. You have come up with your book bones, and now it's time to build a skeleton. So let's do this. If you're expecting to sit down now, write for 3 months and stand up with a finished product, then please rethink your plan, because that is absolutely not going to happen. Now don't kid yourself, sit down and do the writing part. That part has to happen. You can't be a writer and not write anything. But at the moment you are just fleshing out your first draft, so it will not be perfect, it will not be an easy road, but you will absolutely get there in time. Remember how at school you would write a first draft of an essay and then you would leave it, and then the night before you were going to hand it in, you'd go back and proofread it, and you couldn't believe the glaring mistakes or the awful grammar or something or whatever that was going on, and you couldn't believe, you thought, oh my gosh, did I write this? When it comes back to editing a novel, it'll be like that, but times 1,000, because you're so engaged and so personally involved in your own material. Now, I'm not telling you this to put you down, absolutely not. I just want you to be prepared for how it's going to feel when it comes to that edit. What I want to do is I want to give you a realistic expectation of what you can expect. Writing is a fun process and I love it. I know that lots of other people love it as well. Remember, you are writing a first draft. It is called a first draft for a reason. Writing is like art. Perfectionism is the enemy of art, and you go through several iterations to get to the final masterpiece. There is this wonderful saying, and I can't remember who said it first, but writing a first draft is just shoveling sand into a bucket so I can later make castles. And I love that because it is absolutely true of first drafts. So the role of a first draft should be to put things on the page that are fluid. Get all the key factors down on the page, or all of the key elements you want to get in, make sure it's a coherent story structure. It absolutely is not going to be perfect, and right now, for your mental health and well-being, I suggest you throw the notion of perfect right out of the window right now. It is your enemy to productivity and the enemy of you feeling good about your book. If you remember anything at all when it comes to writing first drafts, it's just keep going, just keep writing. I always think about Dory from Finding Nemo and that just keep swimming, just keep swimming. That's absolutely what you need to do. You just need to keep going and try not to look back. In fact, that is my biggest tip for someone who is going through the first draft. Do not go back, do not collect 200, do not look at your past work and start editing. It will kill your optimism and productivity stone dead. That's it, cool, that's all she wrote, folks. Because you'll be so tempted to keep going back and editing, keep going back and polish up and make it look absolutely perfect. You will do that later. If you keep going back in your first draft and polishing and making it look wonderful, you'll never actually get to the end of your first draft. You will never actually end up finishing your book. First drafts are not polished and perfect. They're lumpy and bumpy and completely all over the place, but they are beautiful in their own really raw kind of way, because that's what it is. It's raw. It's a mind blurt from up here onto the page, and later you'll go back and you'll fix all of the mistakes, I promise. So my second biggest tip is to allow yourself ample time, but at the same time be reasonable and use your self-control. So what I mean by that is set yourself word goals, but be reasonable about it. If you're new to writing, maybe set yourself a goal of 1,000 words a week and use your self-control and your drive to make sure you write those 1,000 words a week. If you write 1,000 words a week, at the end of the year, you'll have 52,000 words. That's the majority of your novel already completed. Now, as you get a little bit more experience, you might say, I'd actually like to write 3,000 words a week, which is great, because then you'll end up with your novel being finished 3 times sooner. So you're not killing yourself trying to get this novel onto the market, but at the same time, you are making progress and being productive and moving forwards. Me, personally, I've been writing since I was young. I've been writing since I've been old enough to read. So with a dedicated day of planning already done, at a minimum I can get out about 6,000 words. My record is 15,000 words in the morning, and then I left the coffee shop and went home for lunch, and I didn't count that afternoon. So you see, as you gain experience and you practice, these word goals can get bigger and bigger and bigger, but at the same time you have to be reasonable. I didn't sit down and say, I'm going to write 15,000 words today, because that is a huge ask of anyone, no matter how practiced you are. So make sure you set yourself realistic goals, and then you will definitely find that your productivity and optimism is at its peak. So if you're like me, you're busy most weekends or you work during the day, I do both. What I do is I set myself evening goals. I get back from work and I sit down and I start writing. And if you're not experienced, set yourself 500 words a day, maybe less if you're even busier than that. Whatever you do, if you sit down and start thinking about it for at least 15 minutes, you will eventually end up in the swing of it. Even if you don't feel like it, maybe, oh, I'm so tired, or oh, I should be doing this. Make sure you carve out your writing time and protect it. It's important. If you don't do something with it, you won't move forward and you won't get to the next step. Lots of people drop out whilst writing their first draft. So many people never get to the end. Just make sure that your writing time is reasonable to your lifestyle. This is another big tip that I have for people that are writing first drafts. They don't happen overnight. You don't suddenly just wake up and, oh, I've got 60,000 words. It has to fit in with your life. You absolutely need to make sure that you're socialising. Your work doesn't suffer. That all the other pieces of your life are still up in the air, that you're still managing to juggle everything else in your life. You absolutely can't let this interrupt the other things that are going on. So my third tip is to at least think about writing every day. So you'll find lots of advice online telling you should absolutely write every day. In the real world, some people can't write every day. You have obligations, you've got things you've got to do. Sometimes things turn up. You should not feel guilty about not being able to write every single day of the week. Sometimes it's just not feasible. Like I said, you've got to be reasonable and you've got to be kind to yourself, but at the same time, you've got to be realistic. If you at least think about writing, then I think that will keep you in the swing of it. It'll keep you in that productive mindset and you are far more likely to reach the end of your first draft. Making a habit out of writing is really important. However, it's not easy. You've got to be practical. For example, myself. Throughout the summer of university, I had a job where I worked 12-hour shifts 4 days a week. It was not possible for me to come home and write coherently. I couldn't even think coherently after a 12-hour shift. So I didn't. I was kind to myself, but if I had a lunch break, I would think about writing. If there was a dip in work, I would think about writing. And that way, when it came around to day 5 and I had a whole day to myself, I could sit down and I could write because I knew what I wanted to write. So be kind to yourself, be reasonable, but at the same time make sure you're setting realistic but productive goals. However, if you don't physically write, you should absolutely make a habit of writing on days where you can. If you can write, you need to write, because your novel is not going to write itself. Every single one of those 80,000 words, 100,000 words, 60,000 words, whatever the word count is eventually going to be, you have to write every single one of them. And if you don't do it, it won't get done. And making a habit out of writing will make reaching that goal all the much easier. And finally, my biggest piece of advice is don't let this eat up your life. Make sure you've got a healthy balance. Go and see your friends and family. Go and do your sports. Go and do whatever it is that allows you to feel relaxed. Read other books. Take a break. Your book will always be there when you get back. Well, that's it from me this week. I wish you all so much luck with your first drafts. It can be such a taxing and emotional roller coaster, but I tell you, when you finish your first draft, the feeling that you're going to get, oh my goodness, it's one of the best feelings absolutely ever, because you can sit down and think, yes, I've done it, I've written a first draft. So really that is something you guys should absolutely look forward to. If you like this video, please do hit the thumbs up button and the subscribe button below. If you have any questions, put them in the comment section or hit me up on any of my social media platforms and I will respond to you as soon as I absolutely can. As always guys, thank you for watching, and oh wait, I forgot to mention, my giveaway is still going on. If you want to win 2 free edits for your manuscript. So here's how you're going to enter. If you want to enter 1 ticket, you hit the subscribe button. If you want 2 tickets, you tweet or you share a video and you put the hashtag HTKing18. If you want a 3rd ticket, you can post a verified review on Amazon. Double points if you then retweet that review, because that will give you 2 points. And finally, you can follow me on any of my other social media platforms and then send me a quick message or whatever with the hashtag HTKing giveaway, whatever you want to do. So there are lots of different ways that you can get tickets in the pot, but you absolutely should do that before the 30th of January, and I'm super excited, you guys. The easiest way for you to get tickets is just to hit that subscribe button down below. It's the easiest way. 1 click and you're in. Anyway guys, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you have, I'm HTKing and I will see you next week. Bye!